Political Insiders joining us live in the studio tonight to discuss today's political news. Tony May, Charlie Giroux. Guys, as always, thank you for being here.
Great to be here.
It's a big ceremonial day down at the Capitol today. The formal swearing in for the State Attorney General's office, the Auditor General's position, and the Treasurer, family and friends there. You know, aside from all the pageantry of it, Tony, tell me how important today was for the Democrats.
Well, I think it's a very important day for both parties. You have, for the first time in many years, where all three row offices are under the control of members of the same party. Happens to be of a different party from the governor. The governor's approval ratings are a little lackluster right now. You have the Attorney General, the new Attorney General now, as for several hours here, who's saying she's going to go after the governor's handling of the Jerry Sandusky case. You have an Auditor General who says he's going to continue in the same footsteps of Jack Wagner, his predecessor, trying to root out waste and corruption. And you have a bona fide business whiz in Rob McCord, who's already saved the state, would you say, $1.6 billion in interest he's earned? I mean, it's going to be kind of interesting.
So what can the voters expect the next couple of years?
What will be very interesting, Tanya and Rob, and this is the first time in history that we've had this situation where all three row offices are held by a party other than the governor, is how they conduct themselves in office. Quite bluntly, the fiscal offices, the state treasurer and the state auditor general, generally people don't talk very much about what they're doing. Those are generally viewed politically as stepping stones to other offices. And as you know, folks have run for both of those slots for higher office. The one that'll be very interesting is Kathleen Kane. Tony says she's announced that she's going after the governor. And quite bluntly, I think if it's perceived that way, she's going to have a difficult time. Because if she is perceived as politicizing that office, which it has never really been perceived as being, it's been perceived as a professional prosecutorial post. If she's perceived as politicizing it, I think she's going to have a tough road to hoe. Right now, the world is her oyster. But how she conducts herself over the first few months in office, I think, will well define her term.
So do you feel the governor has to be looking over his shoulder at this point?
I'm sure that he's not exactly thrilled that Kathleen Kane is in the Attorney General's office. I don't think he has anything to be particularly concerned about. But again, if this becomes a political food fight between the governor's office and the office of Attorney General, I think ultimately the Attorney General's office comes up on the short end of that stick.
All right. Well, something to certainly follow.
Well, I'll just say the governor's best defense is a good offense. I mean, the governor can turn those numbers around if he's able to execute the legislative program he's laid out for the year. If he can achieve, and it's a pretty brave challenge, privatization of liquor stores, plug in the hole in the pension deficit that we have right now, and reforming the way we underwrite our state highway construction program. And I know he has more things he wants to do. Those are the ones that I'm watching for.
Those things he mentioned when he campaigned, Charlie, and privatizing the lottery became a big deal over the weekend. Obviously, you know, the state workers, they're concerned. Is he going to be able to turn that around, popularity-wise?
Yeah, a lot of questions about this lottery deal, and there shouldn't have been. I think that, to be very candid, they could have handled it a little bit differently. I do think that Tony is correct, that 2013, the governor will be judged by his legislative accomplishments. That will roll us right into the 2014 elections. I think that's the long and the short of it. How well the governor does with his legislative agenda, how successful he is in passing his priorities, will largely determine where he stands on December 31st going into the new year.
Going to be an exciting session.
It will be. All right. Thank you, guys. As always, Charlie Giroux, Tony May, our political insiders. You can see them here every Tuesday on CBS 21 News at 5:30.